This morning, Oliver Tree boarded a helicopter in Rio de Janeiro with 5 other people. 2 helicopters collided mid-air over the city at 9 a.m. Every single person on board, both aircraft, was killed.
Large fire. Now, no one on the helicopter survived. Among the passengers was American singer Oliver Tree.
But there was a 7th person who was supposed to be on that helicopter, a close friend who pulled out at the very last second. And the reason he didn't board is something straight out of a movie. And the reactions from the celebrities who knew Oliver Tree personally, those will shock you the most.
That is awful. Yeah, that's awful.
That's horrible. He was literally at my birthday party.
Yo, what? Oh my. Bro, what? That's sad.
Let's break it all down. The crash. It happened shortly before 9 a.m. local time on Sunday, June 14, 2026, in a neighborhood called Recreio dos Bandeirantes, a western suburb of Rio de Janeiro. Oliver Tree had been in Brazil for over a week at that point, and by all accounts, he was having the time of his life. In the days leading up to the crash, he had been posting videos of himself in a Brazilian favela, wearing a Brazilian national football shirt, playing football, eating churrasco, cutting his hair, riding a motorbike through the streets. His last post was a full Instagram reel with Brazilian content creator EA Break, caption, Gringo 20 e 4 horas no Brasil, an American experiencing Brazil for the first time, playing football in the street, eating, absorbing the city, posted the night before he died. It has since been watched millions of times by people who had no idea it would be the last thing he ever put out.
Neymar!
The group he had assembled around him in those final days was a tight creative circle. There was Lucas Frota, a Brazilian DJ and producer who lived in Miami and was back in Rio visiting family, with a home in Angra dos Reis on the Costa Verde coast. He was the one who had connected Oliver Tree to the Brazilian music scene during this trip, the one who had been in the studio with him the night before. There was Lucas Vinhali, an Argentine video director whose most recent film had screened at the Berlin Film Festival earlier in 2026. And there was Gaspar Priem, known online as Gaspy, an Argentinian content creator with 2.83 million YouTube subscribers and one of the most recognizable faces in Spanish-language internet culture. These were not random passengers. This was a creative crew, mid-project, heading somewhere with a purpose. According to initial reports from Brazilian firefighters, the group was heading to Angra dos Reis to film a music video. Angra dos Reis sits about 150 kilometers west of Rio along the Costa Verde, an archipelago of islands and clear water. That is exactly the kind of place you film a video, and exactly the kind of place you reach by helicopter, rather than sit in Rio traffic for 3 hours to get to by road. The trip made complete sense. Everything about that morning made complete sense, right up until the moment it didn't. According to the Rio de Janeiro Fire Department, one of the helicopters was bound for Angra dos Reis, while the second helicopter was performing a refueling procedure in the same airspace. One aircraft going somewhere, one aircraft doing a routine operational stop. And somewhere over Recreio dos Bandeirantes, at roughly 9 a.m. on a gray Sunday morning, they found each other. Footage captured by bystanders and circulating widely on social media shows both helicopters visible in the distance, flying through an overcast sky before they appear to make contact. Seconds later, both aircraft begin losing altitude simultaneously. Within moments, they disappear from view, and then a massive fireball erupts from the ground, with thick, black smoke rising into the sky as emergency crews rush toward the site. One of the helicopters came down directly onto the parking lot of a BYD electric vehicle dealership on Avenida das Americas. It exploded on impact, and the fire spread immediately to the vehicles on site. Firefighters on scene noted that lithium-ion electric vehicle battery fires release highly toxic gases and require 3 to 4 times the water of a conventional car fire to extinguish. Around 20 cars were destroyed. The second helicopter was found approximately 100 meters away, carrying only its pilot, Charles Marciac, who also died in the collision. A Burger King employee named Tamir Santos, 27, who was working nearby, told CNN Brazil she heard a really loud explosion. The shop actually shook. After the collision, she saw helicopter parts flying in all directions. Fire Services Lieutenant Colonel Fabio Contreras, speaking at the scene, told CNN. Brazil. Parts of the aircraft are scattered hundreds of meters away, so the information we have is still very preliminary. We really need to get the recordings and videos to understand exactly what happened. Another eyewitness told reporters he saw one of the helicopters in flames following the collision, and that he noticed one of the passengers appeared to jump from the other aircraft before it hit the ground. That detail is unconfirmed and part of the active investigation, but it has not been walked back by authorities either. Police confirmed that the bodies of those killed could not be formally identified at the scene. The impact and the fire that followed were so severe that forensic examination was required. 6 people boarded those 2 helicopters. The investigation into why they collided is ongoing, and a cause has not yet been announced. Brazil's National Civil Aviation Agency issued a public statement expressing deep regret over the loss of the 6 lives, and confirmed it is examining the documentation and legal status of both the helicopters and the pilots involved. The statement ended with a line that reads almost like a warning in hindsight. ANAC reiterates to all passengers on general aviation flights that they should verify the status of companies and aircraft before boarding. Brazil's Air Force deployed investigators from the Center for Investigation and Prevention of Aeronautical Accidents to the crash site to preserve evidence, collect data, and conduct an initial assessment of both aircraft. And here is something that puts the whole thing into a wider context. According to SANIPA's own statistics, not including this collision, Brazil had already recorded 84 aircraft accidents in 2026 alone, leaving 25 people dead before today. Small aircraft crashes are not rare in Brazil. The country is the 5th largest in the world. Helicopter travel is common for business, tourism, and private use. And Rio de Janeiro, in particular, has some of the densest urban helicopter traffic on the planet. The sky over that city is busy. What made 2 aircraft converge at the same point over a residential neighborhood on a Sunday morning is the question investigators are now working to answer. What they already know is who was on board: pilot Alexandre Souza, pilot Charles Marcia, Argentine video director Lucas Vignale, 28, Argentine YouTuber Gaspar Prim, known as Gaspy, 23 years old, with 2.83 million YouTube subscribers and a massive following across Latin America, Brazilian DJ and producer Lucas Frota, who had been living in Miami and was back home in Brazil on a visit, and Oliver Tree Nickel, 32 years old, Santa Cruz, California, 6 people, no survivors, and 1 person who was supposed to be the 7th, but we are getting to that. Celebrity reactions. The news broke in Brazil first, then hit international outlets within the hour, and by mid-morning it was everywhere. The response online was immediate, and it was loud. But what separated the celebrity reactions from the general noise was how personal they got, how fast. Whitney Cummings, the comedian and actress who knew Oliver Tree personally, posted online that he was one of the most talented people on earth and made a point of saying that kind of talent usually comes with an ego and all kinds of nonsense. But Oliver is pure love and the best version of what an artist and person can and should be. There's no silver lining. We lost a giant, she wrote, posting a photo of the 2 of them together, both grinning. KSI, who collaborated with Oliver Tree on their 2023 song Voices, posted on X, "You're 32, man. You should still be here. You still had so much life to live, so much music to make, so much content to make. You're a legend and will always be a legend. Still doesn't feel real. Genuinely feels sick. I love you, bro." KSI does not write like that. That is not his register. The fact that he did tells you everything about what Oliver Tree meant to the people who worked alongside him. Lil Yachty, who collaborated with Oliver Tree on the song A-Hole, also paid tribute online following the news. Rapper Baby, No Money posted that Tree was an inspiration, thanked him for his creativity and brilliance, and said his heart was shattered. And then there was Victor W.A.O., a Brazilian music producer. According to Victor W.A.O.'s own account, posted on Instagram in the hours after the crash, he was meant to board that helicopter. He had been with Oliver Tree and Lucas Frota right up until that morning. But Victor Wow was afraid to fly. It was not a secret among the group. His friends knew it. And Lucas Frota, rather than pushing him to get on board, did something that cost him everything and saved Victor Wow's life at the same time. In Victor Wow's own words, addressed directly to Lucas Frota, "I was supposed to be on that helicopter with you, and I didn't go at the last second. You told me that since I felt afraid, you had arranged a car to take me to Angra dos Reis, and someone else would take my place. Now I owe you my life, brother. I don't know what to do in this moment. I love you." But that was not the post that stopped people cold. There was a second post, and what it revealed about what happened that morning, about who was supposed to be on that helicopter and why they weren't, is something we are coming back to at the end of this video in full detail. Among the wider fan reactions, one thread kept surfacing repeatedly. People who simply could not accept that this was real. "Oh man, I want to believe this is a stunt because that kind of thing was part of his whole gimmick," one fan wrote. "Please be a stunt, man. I love Oliver Tree." That reaction, as painful as it is its own kind of tribute. Oliver Tree has spent his entire career making people question what was real and what was performance, blurring the line so completely and so deliberately that even on the day of his death, people's first instinct was to wonder if he had staged it. You cannot manufacture that kind of cultural imprint. You either have it or you don't. Oliver Tree had it completely. Who he actually was. Oliver Tree Nickel was born on June 29, 1993 in Santa Cruz, California. Santa Cruz is a coastal surf town about 75 miles south of San Francisco, the kind of place that has its own gravitational pull, its own rules, its own specific brand of California weird that either produces people who blend into the background completely or people who could never blend in anywhere, ever. Oliver Tree was the latter, and you could probably trace that back to the beginning. He started taking piano lessons at age 3, was writing songs by 4, and by his own account had a full album written by the time he was 6. His parents apparently took this in stride. In retrospect, they should have understood immediately that they were raising someone for whom normal was never going to be an option. Growing up, he absorbed an unusually wide range of music, jazz, hip-hop, pop-punk, indie rock, a range broad enough that he never settled into one sound and never felt the need to. That diversity became the backbone of everything he made later. Outside the music, he was skateboarding and teaching himself to produce beats on GarageBand, two activities that, separately, describe half the teenagers in California, but that, in Oliver Tree's hands, became the foundation of a genuinely original creative identity. In middle school, he played guitar and sang in a ska band called Irony. That is either the most Oliver Tree sentence ever written or a very early sign that he understood branding before he understood anything else. He went solo after that. Around 2010, he started releasing music on SoundCloud under the pseudonym Criff, primarily making dubstep with artists around the Santa Cruz scene. He was 17 years old, producing electronic music in a surf town, building an audience on a platform that was still new enough that the people who found you there felt like they had discovered something. He then moved to San Francisco, studied business at San Francisco State University for 2 years, because apparently even people who are already building a career in music feel the need to hedge their bets. And somewhere in that period, something shifted. Around 2010 to 2011, Oliver Tree had a serious incident at the Burning Man Festival involving a bad acid experience that nearly killed him. He later described this as the event that launched his music career in earnest, a way to process and escape what had become a drug problem. That detail rarely gets much space in profiles of him, because the public image of Oliver Tree is so aggressively comedic that it is easy to miss what is underneath it. But knowing that the whole thing started there, in a desert, in a crisis, at 17 or 18 years old, reframes the absurdism entirely. The refusal to take anything completely seriously. The characters, the personas, the layers of irony stacked so thick that you can never quite reach the actual person. All of it looks different when you know where it came from. By 2013, he had released his debut EP, Demons, which included a cover of Radiohead's Karma Police that received direct approval from Tom York himself. A 20-year-old making dubstep in California earned a cosign from the lead singer of Radiohead. The trajectory was already unusual before it got famous. Then came 2016, and everything changed. Oliver Tree built a following on Vine through his alter ego, Turbo, a character defined by a signature bowl cut, oversized 1980s clothing, and a persona so precisely calibrated to irritate people that it became impossible to ignore. Tree described Turbo as just the right amount of annoying. That is one of the most accurate self-assessments any artist has ever given. Vine was a platform that rewarded exactly that, something short, immediate, slightly maddening, engineered to provoke a reaction whether the reaction was love or genuine irritation. Turbo was built for it, and it worked. That same year, he connected with producer Wethin. Wethin released When I'm Down, featuring Oliver Tree, a poppy, infectious track that went viral and introduced him to a mainstream audience well beyond the Vine crowd. The song led directly to him signing with Atlantic Records in 2017. A month after signing, he graduated from the California Institute of the Arts, college student to major label artist in 30 days. Most people spend years trying to close that gap. Oliver Tree closed it in a month and apparently did not miss a step. Atlantic was a good fit, precisely because Oliver Tree did not need them to tell him who he was. He already knew. In February 2018, he released his major label debut EP Alien Boy, along with a double music video for All That X Alien Boy that he wrote and directed himself, a project that took over 9 months to complete. 9 months for an EP. That number tells you more about his work ethic and his obsessiveness than any interview quote could. He was not making content. He was making something he wanted to exist in the world exactly the way he imagined it, and he was willing to spend 3/4 of a year making sure it got there. Oliver Tree, Wiki Ugly, Is Beautiful followed in 2020, his first proper studio album. It topped 2 Billboard charts and was certified gold by the RIAA. Then 2021 arrived, and with it, the song that made Oliver Tree inescapable. Life Goes On exploded on TikTok and has since been used in over 3.7 million videos on the platform alone. If you had a phone and social media access in 2021, you heard it repeatedly, in context ranging from deeply emotional to completely absurd, which, if you think about it, is exactly how Oliver Tree would have wanted his music used. He followed that with Cowboy Tears in 2022, a full country album released with zero irony and total commitment, then Alone in a Crowd in 2023, and finally his 4th studio album, Love You Madly Hate You Badly, which dropped in April 2026, entirely self-produced. 4 studio albums in 6 years, each one sonically different from the last, each one fully realized on his own terms. Miss You, his collaboration with producer Robin Schultz, topped the UK dance chart and reached number 4 on US Hot Dance and electronic songs. Beyond the music, he broke a Guinness World Record in 2021 for building the world's largest scooter. He appeared on MTV Cribs and showed off a private library and a dungeon, and mentioned, with complete seriousness, that he had a couple of friends that are vampires. He told Logan Paul in 2022 that he had been living out of a suitcase for 5 years straight, and that it made sustaining any relationship nearly impossible. He was, in every public-facing moment, exactly who he wanted to be, and the cumulative effect of that consistency over years was an audience that trusted him completely, even when they had no idea what he was going to do next. By the time he died, he had nearly 20 million followers across social media and over 11 million monthly listeners on Spotify. His current tour, the world's first world tour, was a 70-plus date run supporting Love, You Madly Hate You Badly, with stops planned across Europe, Asia, New Zealand, South Africa, and Antarctica. He was going to play Antarctica. That sentence could only exist in the story of Oliver Tree, and now it never will. He never made it past Rio. Oliver. Tree was not supposed to be in Rio de Janeiro right now. His tour had a gap, 3 weeks between Sao Paulo and Lisbon, and he filled it the way he filled everything, completely, chaotically, on his own terms. He was in a favela playing football. He was in a studio at midnight, making music with Brazilian producers he had just met. He was holding a fake World Cup trophy and calling himself Neymar. He was, by every account, exactly where he wanted to be, doing exactly what he wanted to do, right up until the last second. He was 32 years old. He had a brand new album out that he produced entirely himself. He had a 70-date world tour with Antarctica on the itinerary. He had spent 15 years building one of the most singular creative identities in modern music, from a SoundCloud dubstep kid in Santa Cruz to a Vine character with a bowl cut, to a gold-certified Atlantic Records artist with 20 million followers and a Guinness World Record for the world's largest scooter. And he was nowhere near finished. The investigation into what happened over Recreio dos Bandeirantes on June 14, 2026 is ongoing. We will update this story as new details surface. If you grew up with Oliver Tree, if Life Goes On hit you in a way you still haven't fully explained, if When I'm Down was the first thing you ever heard from him, drop it in the comments. And subscribe if you want us to cover this story as the investigation develops. This was Oliver Tree, gone at 32. Life goes on, except for the man who wrote the song.